Hey, welcome to today's lesson, and we have a really powerful one today, and we're talking about the 5 whys deep method. And the reason for this is that we are going to start looking at the solutions to problems, not just the kind of symptom of a problem. And we're going to delve really deep into why that is the case. So generally, the 5 whys deep system is something along the lines of asking yourself why, continually ask yourself why until you get to the real issue. And that's what we're going to try. So if you've tried countless diets, you're not getting anywhere with your physique, with your health, with your fitness, this will help you uncover why. Yes, it can get quite emotional, but it's going to change the game for you. So why this training matters first and foremost? Well, most people only treat the symptoms of a problem, not the cause. Now, if you're struggling with fat loss, motivation, binging, inconsistency, any of those things and anything else, this training is going to show you how to identify the root cause and fix that problem for good, not just the symptom, not just treating that symptom. We need to get to the bottom of this. So the first analogy I'm going to look at is the leaky tap analogy. So mopping up water from a leaky tap without fixing the tap is an absolute waste of time. You think the tap's broken, it's leaking, you're just mopping up the water, the tap's still leaking. So we need to fix the tap. Fat loss is exactly the same as this. We've got to fix the leak, not just the mess. So are you treating the symptoms or are you addressing the root cause? And that's what you need to ask yourself firstly before we get into this. So what is the 5 whys deep method? Well, it's a technique developed by Toyota for root cause analysis. So originally it was used in manufacturing and it's now applied to personal development and weight loss challenges. So it reveals the hidden psychological barriers behind your struggles. So it goes way beyond surface level issues like lack of willpower, I'm too busy, to expose the emotional triggers and limiting beliefs that are holding you back. So ask, why am I struggling 5 times? Each answer going deeper. So the example, why can't I stick to a diet? Why do I eat food when stressed? Why do I feel overwhelmed? Until you find the true leak that needs fixing, not just mopping up the water on the floor. Okay, so why can't I stick to a diet? It's because I'm stressed. Why do I eat when I'm stressed? It's because I feel overwhelmed. Why do I feel overwhelmed? And so on and so forth. Okay, hopefully that's making sense at the moment. Now, why it works? Well, first up, it forces honest reflection. And a lot of the time we want to be dishonest with ourselves because it's comfortable that way. When you dig deeper, with each why, you can't hide behind your excuses, essentially, like I don't have time to exercise, because you'll uncover specific barriers such as prioritizing others' needs before your own health, for example. Identifies mindset gaps as well. So it reveals how your belief about fitness, I need to lose weight fast, creates self-sabotaging behaviors. So it exposes specific stress triggers that lead to comfort eating or skipping workouts and all that kind of stuff. And then it moves beyond surface excuses. So instead of stopping at, I'm lazy, you'll discover you're actually avoiding exercise because past attempts led to feelings of inadequacy, or the emotional awareness and this is where the emotional awareness truly changes and starts to begin. Getting that emotional awareness is massive. So a step-by-step guide. Let's have a little look at a step-by-step guide. So we're going to start with a clear problem. Identify a specific fat loss struggle. Okay, this is an example. I can't stick to my diet on weekends, or I always quit my workout routine after 2 weeks. Ask yourself why that problem exists. So your first answer might be surface level, because I don't have enough willpower, or because I get too busy. Write it down, okay, and write it down honestly as well. Then keep asking why. So after each answer, keep asking why. For example, why don't I have willpower? Why do I feel deprived? Why do I use food as a reward? And continue until you feel more emotional resistance. That's very important here. We need to feel that emotional resistance. So we're getting deep. Then we're going to identify the root cause. So by the 5th why, you're more than likely going to uncover a very uncomfortable truth. Something like, I use food to cope with the work stress, or I fear failing, so I self-sabotage before I fail, or before others notice that I fail. And that kind of deep-rooted stuff can become quite emotional. And then it's time to implement a real solution. So don't just plan another diet. Don't just do that. Address the root. Develop the stress management techniques. Work on your relationships with achievement. Work on your relationship with yourself. Create systems that bypass your psychological barriers. Don't just think I need to do another diet or a new workout program. No, we need to get to the emotional instability issue here. That is the root cause. So it starts with stress management. It could start with self-development. Whatever it is, implement a real solution, not just something to stop the symptoms. A real world fat loss example now, okay? So the problem, I'm not losing weight. So the surface issue many people identify, I'm not losing weight. So the first why is I'm eating more than I burn. This calorie equation isn't balanced. Why? Second why is I snack late at night. So the first why, sorry, let's go through that again. I'm not losing weight. Why? I'm eating more calories than I burn. Second why, I snack late at night. Third why, I'm stressed in the evenings. Fourth why, I don't have other ways to cope with it. And the root cause, the fifth why, is poor stress management. So the solution behind this is to build stress relief strategies outside of food. So how can you cope with stress better? Can you do a 5-minute walk? Can you do a Wordle, something like that? What helps you cope with stress? A crossword, something along those lines. Figure out a root cause for the problem. And why does this get uncomfortable? Well, I feel like I've said why 10,000 times. The 5 whys process often becomes deeply uncomfortable because the third or fourth why, you might start to discover that your lack of time excuse for exercise is literally nothing, or it's actually a fear of failure, or that your late night snacking isn't about hunger, but it's about loneliness, okay? Something along these lines. And this is why it gets emotional, okay? But don't shirk on it. We've got to do this. So you can't change what you don't acknowledge, and you won't acknowledge what you don't investigate, all right? So many clients stop at the second why because uncovering emotional triggers feels uncomfortable. Okay, we've got to confront that. We've got to face that up. This discomfort is precisely where transformation happens, when you push through that. So when you realize, when you realize your diet struggles are connected to childhood patterns, for example, or an example set by your parents, or something along the lines like that, it could be, or your procrastination is linked to imposter syndrome, you start to gain the power to implement lasting solutions rather than brushing over it with temporary solutions. So we need to get uncomfortable with this. It's very important. So it's your turn to do it now, okay? Write down your biggest current challenge you have got right now. Gym consistency, food tracking, motivation, whatever it is. Ask yourself why. So what's the first honest answer, okay? Keep going 5 times, at least 5 times. You can keep going past that if you want to, but be ruthlessly honest with yourself and get to the bottom of it. And when you get to the bottom of it, you can start to take action. When you can take action, you can finally bloody resolve all those kind of emotional triggers, and you can get moving without constantly falling back. And I want you to let me know how you get on. So I want you to share your 5 whys breakthrough with me, okay? Let me know what came up and I'll help you work through the next step. You're not stuck, you just haven't found the real issue yet. That's the only thing. And the takeaway from all of this is stop putting plasters over bullet holes, all right? Stop trying to temporarily mop up the mess. Temporary fixes don't solve deep problems. We've got to use the 5 whys to get clarity, and then we can find solutions. So be as honest as you possibly can. It helps us get solutions for it. Everything becomes easier to solve when we do the 5 why system. So this method's simple, powerful, and it is very transformational. So hopefully this has made sense. Do it now. Get your 5 whys done. Think about how you can implement this into your daily life and how you can start changing your current predicament that you're in, okay? Hopefully it's all been good, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you've been watching this, take care, and I will speak to you really soon.